Let's be real. If you are looking to build a PC right now, you are likely staring at a screen of confusion options, wondering why prices feel like they have been artificially inflated since the AI boom. Most experts are still telling you to go for future-proof builds, but in 2026, future-proofing is just a marketing tactic to get you to empty your wallet on hardware you don't need. I'm going to show you how to cut through the noise, save hundreds, and put every single dollar where it actually matters, your frame rate. Let's get into it. The first thing you need to understand in 2026 is that PC building is not about buying the newest label on the box, it is about building a balanced machine. And when it comes to gaming, that balance starts with the GPU, not the motherboard, not the RAM kit with the flashy head skins, not the platform that some influence called the smartest long-term choice. The GPU is still the component that decides what your games actually look and feel like. That's why the rule is simple: GPU first. If your budget is limited, the smartest move is not to overspend on memory speed or a platform that costs more just because it's newer. The smartest move is to maximize the graphics card first, because that is where your FPS lives. A stronger GPU will give you better performance in real games immediately, while a more expensive RAM kit usually gives you teeny gains that you will be barely notice unless you're chasing benchmark charts instead of playing. And this is where the DDR4 versus DDR5 debate gets real. DDR5 is not bad, it is not useless, but in 2026, for a lot of builds, it is simply not the best value. DDR4 has matured, it is stable, widely available, and cheap. DDR5, on the other hand, is still carrying a premium in many markets. And for many gamers, that premium is money that would be far better spent on a faster GPU, a better SSD, or a high quality power supply. The other thing people forget is that memory speed is not a magic solution to weak hardware. If your GPU is a bottleneck, buying more expensive RAM will not suddenly transform your system. You can spend an extra 200 on a DDR5 platform and still end up with a lower frame rate than someone running a sensible DDR4 build with a stronger graphics card. In real-world gaming, that matters a lot more than theoretical platform elegance. So yes, there are cases where DDR5 makes sense. If you are building a top-end machine and the price difference is small, or if your workload genuinely benefits from memory bandwidth, then sure, go DDR5. But for the average gamer, the question is not what is newest, it is what gives me the best actual experience per dollar. And in many cases, the answer in 2026 is still DDR4. If your total budget is under 1000, then stop pretending you are building a flagship or a future-proof rig. You are building a smart budget machine. And in that world, IM4 is still alive for one simple reason. It gives you the most performance for the least money. Let's start with the Ryzen 5 5600. This chip is not glamorous, and that is actually why it is so effective. It is cheap, it is reliable, and it is more than enough for a serious entry-level gaming build. Pair it with a good budget GPU, and you are suddenly in the world of smooth 1080p gaming without wasting money on a platform upgrade you don't need. The Ryzen 5 5600 is the kind of CPU that lets the rest of your budget do the heavy lifting where it matters. Now, if you can stretch the budget a bit, the Ryzen 7 5700X3D becomes incredibly hard to ignore. This is hidden VIA-PON in the IM4 lineup. The extra 3D cache changed the game for many titles, especially the ones that allow low latency and strong cache performance. In practical terms, that means this CPU can punch far above its price. It also has a major advantage for budget builders. It is much less sensitive to memory speed than many people assume. That matters because it keeps the whole platform affordable. You are not forced into expensive DDR5 just to get good gaming performance. And then there is a content creation angle. If your system is not just for gaming, but also for editing, streaming, or 3D work, the Ryzen 9 5800X and 5950X are still fantastic secondary market picks. This is where IM4 becomes a value monster. You can buy a used discounted high core count chip and get workstation level multitasking without paying for a brand new platform. For creators on a budget, that is a huge win. This is the part people miss. A budget platform is not automatically a compromise. It becomes a compromise only when you spend your money in the wrong place. AM4 gives you the ability to keep platform cost low, so really the performance budget can go into the GPU. And if your goal is stronger 1080p or even decant 1440p gaming, that is the smartest trade you can make. So the budget formula in 2026 is simple. Do not chase a new socket, do not overpay for memory, pick a strong AM4 CPU, pair it with a capable GPU, and spend the savings on a part that actually changes the experience. This is where the conversation gets interesting, because this is the range where most builders start falling for platform marketing. They see a newer socket, newer memory, newer branding, and they assume newer automatically means better. That is actually how people end up overspending. In the 1000 to 2000 range, LGA 1700 still makes a lot of sense, especially if you are building around DDR4. The reason is simple. You can get excellent CPU performance without paying the DDR5 tax. That matters because the total cost of platform is not just processor. It is the CPU, motherboard, and memory together. If any of those pieces forces you to spend too much, the whole value equation collapses. The Core i5-12600KF remains one of those CPUs that refuses to die, and for good reason. It delivers strong gaming performance, handles productivity work well enough for most users, and fits into builds where value is the priority. It is not flashy, but it is efficient in the only way that matters for builders. It lets you put more of the budget into the GPU. That makes it especially attractive for mid-range gaming builds where every dollar counts. Then there is the Core i5-14600KF, which is still one of the best buys in the entire market for people who understand total platform value. On paper, people get distracted by platform labels and assume they need a newer socket to feel modern. But in real builds, the 14600KF paired with the DDR4 gives you a serious performance per dollar advantage. It can feed powerful GPUs properly, it handles higher refresh rate gaming very well, and it avoids forcing you into more expensive memory kit just for the sake of saying I have DDR5. The Core i7, 13700KF and 14700KF lives in slightly different category. These are the workhorse for people who game hard but also multiple heavy tasks open in the background. Video editing, streaming, large project files, long sessions. Multitasking these chips handles that kind of loads with ease. A lot of the fear around them gets exaggerated online, especially when people repeat old instability talking points without context. With the proper BIOS update, a good cooler, and a decent motherboard, these CPUs are extremely capable. What makes this brag so compelling is that it's not about chasing the highest number on the spec sheet. It is about finding the point where money still creates a visible improvement in real performance. LGA 1700 with DDR4 gives you that balance. You avoid the premium memory trap, you avoid overspending on the platform that doesn't meaningfully improve gaming results, and you keep enough cash free for the GPU, which still drives the whole experience. So when someone tells you that a mid-range build must be on newest platform or it's wrong, ignore that. A smart mid-range build is not about being fashionable, it is about staying efficient. Once you move into higher-end builds, the rules change slightly. You are no longer trying to squeeze performance out of every dollar. Instead, you are trying to avoid wasting money on hype that doesn't translate into better results. And that is where the high-end DDR4 versus DDR5 discussion becomes more nuanced. For pure gaming, the Ryzen 7, 7800X3D and 9800X3D remains the names to beat. The 3D cache advantage is still incredibly powerful in gaming, especially in competitive titles and CPU-sensitive games, where frame pacing, latency, and consistency matter as much as peak FPS. If your goal is higher fresh gaming and you want the cleanest possible frame delivery, these chips are extremely hard to argue against. The Ryzen 9 7950X3D sits in a slightly different category. It is a hybrid choice for people who want elite gaming performance and serious productivity power in the same system. If you are gaming, rendering, editing, completing or do heavy workstation tasks, this is the kind of CPU that can make sense in premium build. It is expensive, yes, but at this level, They focus on maximum versatility rather than raw value. Now for the part many people need to hear. Not every new platform is smart buy. In 2026, LGA 1851 and Core Ultra 200 are not automatically the answer just because they are newer. New does not mean better value. In a lot of cases, this platform costs more, require more expensive memory, and do not deliver enough gaming improvement to justify the extra spend. If your main goal is gaming, paying more for a platform that doesn't clearly outperform the best existing option is a bad deal. This is especially true when you compare total platform cost. A newer platform might require prices DDR5, more expensive motherboards, and possibly additional cooling or tuning overhead, all while giving you only modest real-world gains. If the performance increase is small, then you are paying a premium for the privilege of owning the newest socket. That is not smart building. That is brand-driven spending. So the high-end rule is simple. If you are going expensive, make sure the expense buys your actual performance, not just aesthetic novelty or marketing hype. The best gaming chips still need to justify their place by delivering something meaningful on screen. If they do not, skip them. Here is the bottom line. You are building a machine to play games, not to impress strangers with the newest platform label. In 2026, the smartest builders are the ones who understand opportunity cost. Every dollar spent on a platform upgrade that doesn't improve your gaming experience is a dollar taken away from the GPU, the part that actually determines how your games run. DDR4 is still a valid choice when the goal is value. IM4 still makes sense when the budget is tight. LGA 1700 still offers a very strong sweet spot for people who want great performance without overpaying for memory. And high-end builds should be judged by real gaming results, not by the number of new features stamped on the box. Do not let marketing convince you that future-proof is the same thing as smart. It is not. Smart building is about balance, value, and performance where it counts. The best PC is not the one with the most expensive parts. It is the one that gives you the best experience for your money. If this breakdown helped you, hit subscribe so we can cut him through the hype. And tell me in the comments, are you still running DDR4 or did you already jump to DDR5 and feel the price pain?